everyone, Janeen here from Lupus Health Shop. This week's topic, 5 lupus life hacks and finding the right diet to fit you. I'm going to tell you 5 different diets that help decrease lupus symptoms and help us go into remission without needing extra medications, without having to have prednisone. So it's a really wonderful approach to keep you healthy and thriving. You're probably thinking, okay, sure, I've tried it, it didn't work. But a lot of times we don't try the diet that's good for us and we don't do it correctly. And that's because there's a lot of misinformation out there. Today, I'm gonna get into those details. Hey warriors, if you're a lupus life hacker, thanks so much for the support and welcome back to another episode. If you're new and you wanna stay in the now in decreasing lupus symptoms, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified of our weekly video release. So a common question, how come people choose diets in order to treat their autoimmune problems? From my understanding, once the body has an autoimmune problem or a chronic condition, it's unable to protect the body as it once was. And it's unable to be able to remove toxins as easily. With different types of diets, we are able to control any inflammatory foods that may be coming in by removing them from our diet. And by doing this, we replace it with good nutrient-dense foods that naturally occur so our body can easily recognize them. Once our body is in a state of balance, blood work will show that they are in remission. Since the body is in a state of heightened immune response, removing foods that are commonly known as inflammatory foods or inflammatory triggers is the best way to prevent every symptom that you experience. Plus, instead of using the term diet, which makes us feel like we're missing out on something and like having serious FOMO, a lot of people like to use the term food freedom. And that means we have the choice to eat good foods or bad foods. And bad foods are ones that are gonna make us feel sluggish, give us headaches, joint pain, brain fog. And we can eat those, but we know that we'll suffer the consequences. So if we choose foods that give us energy, that decrease symptoms, that prevent the symptoms that we experience, that is when we have the ultimate control over our body and what we eat. There are 5 lifestyle choices that are known to decrease lupus symptoms, thyroid issues, any type of chronic condition, autoimmune condition. They are vegan, paleo, autoimmune paleo, Whole30, and surprisingly, keto, if it's done correctly. Now, while they're all very different, there are a few things that they have in common, and this is what I have noticed along with thousands of other doctors who are in practice functional medicine. They all have a few things in common. These are the key components to success. They're all plant-based diets. And what plant-based means is majority of the food on your plate or in your smoothies or whatever meal you're having is made up of vegetables. And of those vegetables, they try to have organic. They try to have a mixture of different types of greens. Always go with the rainbow, which means you have lots of different color vegetables, because that means you're gonna get a bunch of different types of nutrients, and you're gonna get the minerals. And when you eat them together, they absorb better because everything works synergistically, meaning it is absorbed easier when it has different minerals together. For example, calcium and magnesium taken together are absorbed and utilized in our body much easier than taken alone. Same thing with vitamin D and vitamin K2. So the rest of the food on your plate would be protein and small amount of healthy fats. Avocado, coconut oil that was used to cook your food. Sweet potato, using coconut-based creams for any sauces. Grass-fed butter is my favorite, especially if it's by Kerrygold. I am a firm believer of that butter. It is delicious. Anyways, they try to have organic and grass-fed meats, especially beef. You will taste the difference. I promise you, if you buy grass-fed beef or free-range grass-fed chicken, you're gonna know right away how different the meat tastes, and it is so good. You'll never have chewy or hard, tough meat. It's gonna be very juicy. It even cooks easier and faster. If you're on a budget like I am, what I always make sure to do is look at the 2019, soon to be 2020, Dirty Dozen list of vegetables. And that way I will always buy my vegetables from that list. They will always be organic. With meat, I don't. With meat, I always spend the few extra dollars and get grass-fed and free-range meats. And then I don't spend any money on other materialistic things because I know that it's gonna help my body in the long run. Another thing is all of these diets do not include refined or processed foods, no refined sugars. We have lots of good carbs in these diets. Good carbs are your vegetables. Bad carbs would be, white potatoes, bread, cookies, stuff like that. Rice, a little bit of rice in moderation is always good. Lastly, we always read ingredients, never nutritional value. Avoiding products that have food coloring, high fructose corn syrup, and other chemicals. Limiting fruit and sugars. Although fruit is good, a little bit is best because we are too sick right now and our gut is not healthy. And sugar is what feeds the bad bacteria, even if it's from fruit. So you want to limit it to 1 serving a day. Okay, so now we know what they have in common. How are they different? Vegans, if you are not vegan, listen up. Vegan is when they avoid all animal products as compared to a vegetarian who just doesn't eat meat. There are so many studies that have seen a strong correlation between animal products and inflammation. And that's largely because there's lots of hormones. They've even studied gut microbe or bacteria, where our immune system is located mostly. It shows that those who are vegan and use a healthy vegan lifestyle have a very diverse set of characteristics in their gut. And that means they have a good balance of good to bad ratio. And if you have a good balance, which is of 80-20, you will never have autoimmune problems. If you want to learn more about the vegan lifestyle, comment below vegan. Paleo diet. So our paleo diet is made up of what biomedical research suggests. What biomedical research suggests is the best way to have optimal health. When you have optimal health, that means you don't have any ailments or issues. So paleo is when you eat gluten-free and dairy-free. Your meals are mostly plant-based. You include nuts, fish, eggs, some fruits, and seeds because there's lots of anti-inflammatory components to all of those. So those that are healthy and they're not part of any of these diets, right? They're always bashing all of these different diets for those who have chronic illness. But if someone's complaining that they have migraines, that they feel sluggish all the time, that they're just sad, or they have stomach aches, they have chronic ear infections, or they're sick often, that means that they're not healthy. That's actually a warning sign that their body is slowly going down a path to chronic pain, to chronic conditions, and if they don't change, they're gonna suffer later on in life. As a result, foods that are linked to inflammation issues, hormone imbalance, or chronic illnesses are eliminated through the paleo diet. This is actually a personal favorite and I love the paleo diet. If you want to learn more about this lifestyle, comment below paleo. I'll do an Instagram TV video on all of these diets. Just let me know below which one you want to hear about. This is a version of the paleo approach, but it's much more strict. And it's more strict because even if you're eating healthy or you're doing paleo, you're still feeling like you have GI symptoms or you're still getting other symptoms, and that's because you're not eliminating enough. The reason that you're still reacting is because your gut is so out of whack that it's just overfiring and overreacting. The AIP is something that you would do for like 30 days, sometimes 60 days or a couple months. This is because while you may not have an allergy, your body has an autoimmune problem. And this is part of the reason why it reacts to everything. So by removing these underlying sensitivities, you're allowing your stomach to stop reacting, you're allowing your gut to stop reacting to everything, and you're allowing it to just take a break and start healing. It will start healing when you replace those inflammatory foods with foods that will help nourish your system. The AIP is everything with the paleo except you would remove meat, nuts, seeds, and dairy. If you want to learn more about the AIP diet for the lifestyle. Make sure to comment below AIP and I'll do an Instagram TV video on it. So the Whole30, this is something that Dr. Kirsty and I talked about when we did a collaboration video, which the video is right above. You can watch that next. This is an elimination diet. And this is not something that you would do forever. This is something that you do for a short period of time to figure out what your triggers are. This will also help tame all those sugar cravings that are hard to beat. It will stabilize your hormones, and those with lupus have hormone issues and we're not able to regulate their hormones properly. That's part of the reason why we have so many flare-ups. It also aids with any digestive issues you may have, like IBS, Crohn's, colitis, and it's going to help boost your energy. Like what you see so far, subscribe and click on the bell so you don't miss out next week on our new video. Now back to the topic of the week. And if you have chronic fatigue, like I do, trust me, you will do anything that is simple, no side effects, and this diet is definitely it. Whole foods like fresh fruit, vegetables, including starchy veggies like sweet potatoes, chicken, fish, eggs, and healthy fats like coconut oil, grass-fed butter, dairy-free fermented foods. Now fermented foods like kimchi, like sauerkraut, you could ferment any vegetables at home. These fermented foods will help repopulate your gut, kind of like a natural probiotic. Also, it includes non-seeded spices and dry herbs. The type of veggies that you would avoid through the Whole30 are nightshade. You would avoid dairy, seeds, grains, eggs, sugar, and artificial sweeteners. Alcohol too, and all baked goods, candies, sweet, and typical junk food that we shouldn't be eating anyways. But during this period of time, you have to be really strict because you're gonna kill off any parasites that you have in your body. And if you didn't know, everyone has parasites, especially if you eat sushi or any raw fish. If you're walking barefoot on the ground, parasites are passed along all the time. Most people eliminate them without even knowing it, but if you have autoimmune disease, we have trouble eliminating toxins and stuff like that. So this is gonna help us starve them off. And the probiotics, those fermented foods that you eat, are really gonna help kill them too and help repopulate good bacteria. If you wanna learn more about the Whole30, comment below Whole30 and I'll do an Instagram TV video on it. So controversial. I get people who are mad at me if I suggest it. I've gotten people who love that I suggested it because they've seen such phenomenal results. But the key here is that we're not doing keto that involves tons of dairy, that involves bacon for every meal, or anything like that. Keto is great for a short period of time as well. This is not something that I would suggest have the rest of your life. Something that I would suggest you do forever is like vegan, vegetarian, paleo. Those are things that once in a while you can sneak in, have, popular foods that everyone else. Keto cuts out sugar, artificial sweeteners, alcohol, and all baked goods that just give us bloating, migraines, that contribute to our joint pain, contribute to our GI problems. Some ketoers too are dairy-free. This diet focuses on keeping your macros at an optimal range for your body weight and your body type. Your carbs are less than 10% of your daily intake. You increase your healthy fat intake. So you're not gonna eat a bunch of sour cream, you're not gonna eat a bunch of cheese. This is all inflammation causing foods. What you would use is grass-fed butter when you're cooking, coconut oil. You can put some butter in your coffee in the morning, which really helps with brain function, as well as you get your fats for the day. And these types of fats really fill you up, so you're not even hungry, you're not craving anything. Avocados are another healthy fat, so are nuts. You would also eat eggs, fish, lean, and organic or grass-fed meats too. If you wanna learn more about keto, comment below keto, and I'll do an IGTV video on it too. Why do all these types of diets put people who have lupus, who were once in your shoes, where I was in your shoes too, and we suffered so much and we would get so mad at people who were like, try this diet, try that, and they don't know anything, right? But those that have the same autoimmune disease as us and have seen success, we should definitely listen and hear what they have to say. Our cells that make our organ are made up of minerals, are made up of vitamins, and they rely on these specific nutrients, right? When we introduce man-made substances and all these foreign chemicals that are created in the lab to mimic natural foods and tastes and help our taste buds feel like we're eating something that tastes really good, that tastes familiar, but it's not quite the same. That's why when it breaks out of the cellular level, it starts to confuse our body and our cells start to misbehave and they don't function the way that they're supposed to. This happens so long, day after day, and then one day you wake up and you have lupus. Every day that you had migraines, or you felt fatigued, or you had chronic, ear infections, or you had chronic headaches, just any everyday symptoms that we pass off as normal doesn't mean it's okay. It may be common because everyone else around us feels that way, but it doesn't make it right. These are warning signs. Our food isn't simply food anymore. When you go to a grocery store and you buy packaged sliced cheese, for example, pay attention next time to the label. They don't call it cheese, they call it single. But because your brain sees cheese, you automatically assume that it is cheese. Fun fact about the US labeling. You can't name something cheese. You can't label a product cheese unless at least 51% of it is made of real cheese. That means 49% of that cheese is not cheese, and it's made of all different types of chemicals, which is why it's not healthy for you as compared to natural, raw dairy. This is one of hundreds of examples of how our labeling is really lacking, and the marketing is really bad because it's fooling us into thinking we're getting something healthy when we're not. I'm gonna do another video on this as well, so stay tuned in a couple of weeks. When you go shopping, I always say, don't look at the calories, don't look at the carbs, just pay attention to the ingredients. And my personal rule of thumb is if there's more than 5 ingredients, put it back. There shouldn't be much to it. There shouldn't be any high fructose corn syrup. There shouldn't be any preservatives. There shouldn't be any fake sugars or natural flavors. Natural flavors means they can put like coal tar in there and they don't have to list it, as an example. So here are your 5 lupus life hacks to determining how to choose the lifestyle that I talked about earlier in this video for you. What are your beliefs? Are you trying to avoid animal products? Vegan would be the way to go. 2, what's your home life like? Are you cooking for a family of 5? Are you able to meal prep? Do you have a busy lifestyle? Do you have trouble standing cooking for long periods of time? I would choose paleo. If you feel like if you tried all these diets and it hasn't worked for your symptoms, I would try the AIP or Whole30. And that way you can eliminate any possible triggers. And when you slowly introduce one food a week back in, you'll see what's triggering your symptoms. And then that way you'll keep it out for a little while until your body heals. What's your budget? If you can only afford a certain amount of organic meat, if you can only afford a certain amount of organic vegetables, it's okay to do the paleo still, or AIP or Whole30. Just make sure you're reading the Dirty Dozen list. Those are the important ones to stay away from because they have pesticides, herbicides that are linked to cancer. Are you determined to find out what your triggers are? Because you know that if you do it right and if you find the one that fits your body, you will decrease your symptoms and you could go into remission. If you're doing any of these diets, I do highly recommend to supplement with specific supplements, especially if you're vegan and you know you're not gonna get enough vegetables in, because you will have lower amounts of B12, B6. So I have a link below of the methylated Bs that I actually use myself and I love them. Just a quick tip, if you're gonna get your blood work done for any B vitamins, make sure you don't take the supplement that day because it will mess up the levels. And lastly, how much support do you have at home? If you're new to this and your family doesn't really understand it, send them some information so they can help support you on your journey to health, even with lupus. Everyone who has done 5 lifestyles correctly have seen phenomenal results, and they even go into remission sometimes. I hope this has inspired you to want to know more about EAT. Remember, comment below and I'll do an Instagram TV video on one that you have more questions on. Also, next week, I'm gonna talk about the best vitamins for lupus and ones that I take and have found the greatest health with. With lupus, our body needs extra nutrients to complete its daily chores, cleaning up the mess from our medications, from the toxins that are building up from our air around us and from the foods we eat. Otherwise, we experience fatigue, joint pain, brain fog, GI issues, and all the other symptoms. If you're interested in learning more, you don't want to miss that video. But until then, check out these videos over here, and that way, it'll keep you busy until next week. Thumbs if you loved it, thumbs if you liked it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week, guys.